Hey, it's Hobbies Fishing. How you doing? I got some time today, so I wanted to make a quick YouTube video about everything that came out at ICAST this year. I did a kind of similar video last time when we were looking at all of the stuff that came out at the Bassmaster Classic, and a lot of you guys liked it, so I wanted to do the same thing. So we've pulled up Tackle Warehouse because they have a good kind of overview of the stuff that was released. There's a lot more than this, but like kind of simplifies things. So we're going to start with the oh no, but these are the best Bassmaster Classic releases. Ooh. ICAST 2025 Best of Show Winners is what we're going to look at today. But yeah, so let's kind of go through it, right? So let's start at Best Freshwater Rod, Daiwa Tachula Cork Series. Tack forward 15, how much are they? 150, not bad. The Tachula rods are actually really great. I've used them in the past. I used to own one. They're really great rods, and especially at that price, 150, it's a really great offering. They actually look really cool. The little details, I do like some nice details, and they did really leaning into that spider web thing up here. But for like an all-around rod, they're actually pretty nice. They have some nice features, but with it being Daiwa, that have come down from like the higher end rods that they make. But yeah, like the SVF blanks are really nice. They're pretty light. The ones that I use are pretty light. I wish it was EVA, but that's just a personal preference thing, not a make or break deal. And then they have the Daiwa Ballistic MQLT. Ooh. So what's interesting is that so I have a ballistic, but my ballistic is just a carbon one that I use for saltwater. I like carbon over metal when I'm fishing saltwater just because salt and metals are always a pain, but carbon's a little better. You just got to wash it a lot. But the ballistic that I own is actually I think it's just a ballistic MQ, which is a really great reel in itself. The one thing that I do like about Daiwa over Shimano spinning reels is that while Shimano spinning reels are super smooth, like it feels like nothing, it just glides. The Daiwas actually have a lighter startup. What that means is like how much force it takes to start spinning that spool. Daiwas are a lot lighter, so especially for baits where you want to start and stop your reeling a lot and quickly, the lighter spool helps a lot with that. But it looks like they did air drive, Zion V monocoque, which is like that carbonish material. So it's not really metal. That air drive is what I mean by Daiwa really making their spools spin really light, and it feels really light. It may not be as smooth as like a Shimano, but it'll be light, and it's kind of like a give or take here, right? And yeah, because it's carbon, it will be a lot lighter. Oh, and it's mag seal. The mag seal is pretty cool. It's like a magnetic fluid that's inside, like right before you get into the guts of the reel, and when it spins, it allows the spool to spin really nicely. But when it's not spinning, like let's say you dunk it in water, that seal actually kind of helps keep out water. Shimano, on the other hand, they have a hydrophobic rubber plate, I guess, underneath the spool. Before you get into the guts, there's a hydrophobic plate in there so that water, if it gets onto it, once you start spinning again, it'll come right out. And that's kind of how they water resist their reels, whereas Daiwa does it with the mag seal, so like a physical barrier, which is really cool. But in Korea, when I had a Daiwa reel that I used for trout fishing, so I wanted the maximum amount of lightness, we would actually flush out that magnetic fluid out of our reels so that we could have the lightest, because we're not going to be dropping our reels into water when we're fishing for trout. Oh, and fishing for trout in stocked ponds is what I'm trying to say. Saltwater Fitzgerald flat class. Honestly, I don't fish saltwater as much. I just own a Daiwa SP, Daiwa SP rod, which is like a multi-piece, medium power, medium heavy, maybe medium, I think. But that's like the one rod I use for striper fishing. I don't fish salt as much. So I don't own too many different salt rods. Saltwater reel by Quantum. Hello, Quantum coming in. Let's see, long-lasting gear life, gear tech. So it has like it's probably like a brass, maybe real gear, just that it's like a meat grinder, so you can really just grind out your gears when you're fishing like big inshore fish. It doesn't seem. Quantum combo prevent intrusion of water, sand, debris. Ooh, I wonder how. I'm curious to see how they actually seal it to keep it from salt water. That would be interesting to see. Z-Man Swag LT. Huh. Looks like Z-Man's making a Megabass Magdraft copy. However, it's probably not. It's actually not a Magdraft. While the hook placement is very similar, the big thing here is actually it's a wedge tail. It's not a boot tail. So the Magdraft is a big boot tail that gets a big cut. The wedge tails get a finer, higher pitch vibration. So I guess you can't really call it a Magdraft copy. It's similar, but not really. But pretty interesting. The perch looks crazy for some freshwater bass here in Massachusetts because we have so many yellow perch. Yeah, you could probably fish it a lot faster than the Magdraft without blowing it out. And it's Elastec, so. But also you have to probably store it separately. Ooh, a prawn lure, a shrimpy lure. That's cool. I did see, what was it? There was another company, I think an Australian company. They made a shrimp lure that has a special jig head that you put into it, so when you work it, it folds. The shrimp folds like a shrimp swimming. Shrimps like fold themselves to swim away from prey, so you can kind of work your rod like that, and it'll look like a fleeing shrimp, but it's made out of plastic. But that's pretty cool. The one time I used shrimp to go saltwater fishing, all I did was catch a bunch of catfish. Best hardwater lure, Rapala claptail. Looks like a whopper plopper with a metal blade and a metal blade on top. And I guess the idea here is that it's just going to be making a whole bunch of ruckus, right? It's kind of like the Megabass gong that I like to fish. It's a wake bait, but it's like a metal blade that it's not really for kicking water. It hits the back of the bait and makes like a loud clinking. And actually, for whatever reason, that loud metal on metal clinking like gets bass to hit. So actually, it could be a pretty interesting option. Especially if you fish a place where the bass, if it's loud and it's moving and they can see it, they'll probably eat it. But it could be a really cool offering to kind of switch up. Like if everyone else is throwing normal whopper ploppers, it could be that little difference that gets the bass to eat it. Interesting. Power Pro Max 8 braided fishing line. Didn't they have this already? Or is this are they trying to be like Suffix and put 832? Because I know they had the Max Quattro and then the Max, like the 11 one. But interesting. Thinner diameter. I mean, as braid gets better and better, it's awesome, right? You get thinner braids, so you can fish thinner braids at higher pound tests for especially for like spinning reels. If you can fish like a super thin 10-pound test braid or 12-pound test braid, would be great. But quite honestly, it's really hard to tell. Like, just because it's thinner doesn't mean it's going to be stronger. The pound test on that, it will be could be misleading. I find at least that comparing lines based on similar diameters and seeing breaking strength there is more important and shows you the pound test better, how strong that line is, better than just having just saying that it's thinner and then it's a higher pound test, when really compared to another line that of the same diameter, it performs differently. VMC is making a mid-stroll jig for shaking minnows. I mean, I like the hook keeper on that. That's really nice. But the thing is that, see, this is just a normal jig head. Like, this would be great for a paddle tail. But for shaking a minnow, like hover strolling or mid-strolling, you actually want this weight to be higher up on the soft plastic. You want your soft plastic as low on the hook as possible, and then your weight as high as possible, because what you're trying to do with a mid-stroll is to actually get this minnow's center of balance to fall over to one side, left or right. But the only way you can do, if your weight and your bait are middle to each other, it really won't fall over. But when your weight is high up, it has to fall over one way or another. And that's how you get that shake, you get that kind of falling over action. And then when you're shaking it, it's just doing that back and forth a bunch of times. And that's how you get that really great rolling action. So like there's like the hover shot, no, not the hover shot. The range roller there's a Japanese hook called the range roller from Decoy, I think, that has a really high up jig head. You'll see it. Let me see if I can show you. Range roller, not range roller, hook. Yeah, images. So if you see this hook here, You see how higher up that weight is? So that helps it kind of knock over that center of balance. Is how you get that mid-strolling action really well. But that's a cool, I would use that for a paddle tail for sure. Tackle management, Buzzbee, Swarm combo kit. Oh, that's like a nice little box that has everything. External rail. Ooh, external rail. Interesting. Best cutlery, pliers, Bubba, Smart Fish Scale Light. Ooh, is it time for me to finally get a new scale? GPS. You can store it to your phone? That's pretty cool. Warm weather. Oh, some shorts. I'm trying to get cute. Ooh, kayak trolling motor. I want to get a nice fishing kayak, like a big fishing kayak to go fishing on. That'd be great. Oh, but not for $2,000 and $3,000. No, thank you. Moving on. Baijiu Greenland sunglasses. Those are cool, actually. I like those. Techius framed, rigid. Does it float? Does it float? Doesn't float, but looks nice. I do like. I use oh my gosh, why can't I think of the name? It's the Wave. It has a wave on it. Oh, I can't remember the name of those glasses, but I use those. Costa. I use Costa sunglasses. They have a big one that fits my face really well, which is hard to find, but like the Costa. Oh, you can buy a giant DT, because I know they made the jerkbait. You can buy a crankbait now. That's cool. Maybe I'll get one for the wall. Maybe like right up there somewhere. I've seen a lot about the turtle box. These seem really cool. You know, gotta blast some Fetty Wap going down the pond. New fish finders. Again, $3,000. Thank you very much. But that's kind of all the stuff that the best of show stuff. I know the question is going to be what I think about dice. I think dice are good. I think that it's kind of weird that every company decided to make their own. But if it fits your budget, fits your budget. But like the dice isn't some magic bait. The thing that people don't realize is actually just because you throw a dice, you're not going to catch fish. What these dice baits are really designed for is actually if you know there's a bass there, if you can see it and you got to sight fish it. When you sight fish a bass with a dice bait, you will catch that bass because it's, you know, they'll see it in front of them, but you have to be able to put that bait in front of them. It's not going to draw in fish that well unless you're fishing like super clear water and they're like deep. Yeah, maybe if it's falling they might come up and pick it up, but generally these dice baits are really designed to be fished as a sight fishing bait. If you see that bass from the bank, and it's, again, because it was made in Japan, it's designed for bank angling more. You can't, you know, like if you're on a boat, it's really hard to sight fish, like bring a boat close enough to the shore to see bass sitting like in shallow water. So it's designed much more for like bank anglers. Like when you're walking on the bank and you see that fish, like, oh shoot, there's a huge fish there and it's not eating anything. That's when you pitch a small dice bait in front of it and it'll eat it. But that's what the dice bait is for. And it, you know, like quite honestly, I don't think, you know, it's cool, it's fun to use. If you have a few in your pack, it's always great to have a few, I think, especially if you're carrying like a spinning rod with you, because like I said, if you see that fish that's sitting there and it's huge and you want to get it, just whatever you have on your hook, just take it off, put a dice on and throw it at it, and it should eat it. But that's kind of the power of the dice bait. It's not some magic lore. But thank you so much for watching this video. As always, thank you for joining me here on YouTube. If you, oh, big sneeze. If you are here from my TikTok, Instagram, thank you so much. If you just found me on YouTube, thank you so much for finding me. Here, you want to say hi to everyone? Sunny says hi to everyone. He was taking a nap and he just woke up. But again, thank you guys so much for joining today. Here you go. There you go, back up there. Thank you so much for joining today. Leave a like and follow if this video has been good. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, a comment, and a follow. It really helps a lot. I'm really trying to get better and better about posting on my YouTube channel more frequently and on a more regular schedule. But thank you so much for watching again. So what are you waiting for? Get out there.